fans, man, from the city of Chicago.
This dude is the worst quarterback in the NFL. He is an absolute joke. He always has been, he is, and he will remain that way until somebody gets inside of his head, because people on constant occasions keep deferring to his talent, his arm strength, his ability to make throws, his athleticism. Of course, Jay Cutler is talented in that regard, but that's exactly why I call him the worst quarterback in the NFL, because with those attributes at his disposal, he is still weak mentally. He is still somebody that is leaderless. He is somebody that brings absolutely positively nothing to the table, and I do mean absolutely nothing to the table that galvanizes the troops around him and get them to maximize their abilities. The Chicago Bears should get rid of Jay Cutler quick, fast, in a hurry. He is a football abomination. He is the worst kind of quarterback you can possibly have. I don't give a damn who you can go out there and get.
All right, you're listening to the Dorm Room Sports Podcast live on WMXM 88.9 FM. We're broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. You can listen online at WMXM.org and call us at 847-735-6038 to make a request or comment. This is episode 4 of the Dorm Room Sports Podcast, XXX, with special guest host this week, Michael Roofer. How you doing, Roofer?
Great. It's great to be here.
We're excited to have you. Shout out Jim Schick for letting Roofer take the bull by the horns on this one and jump in. Jim had some prior obligations, even though this was clearly his previous obligation before his other obligations came into place. So
I think that had to do with his girlfriend. I think that's what he's doing. I'm not really sure. So clearly priorities are straight here.
Jim always has his priorities straight. This week we're going to talk about a lot of football. Obviously, Stephen A. had very strong opinions about Jay Cutler and the Bears' performance this past weekend.
Are they really opinions, Tommy? Are they really?
I don't know what you would call them if they're not opinions.
Facts?
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, facts.
I'm gonna go with facts.
Well,
that's
go with
just
facts. Me. Stephen A. on First Take, this was yesterday, September 20th, calling Jay Cutler, quote, the worst quarterback in the NFL, and letting the world know how he feels and letting the Bears know what they should do. And I knew Roofer's prepared a lot for this show.
Absolutely.
He's very excited about it.
Very strong-minded when it comes to the Chicago Bears. So
that's what passionate fans do, is like you end up...
I'm not a passionate fan anymore. They've lost me.
No, passionate about sports.
That's fair.
Gives these strong opinions. So what do you got for us, Roofer?
Well, we can start with his salary.
That's a good place to start.
7 years, $126.7 million contract. 54 guaranteed. Now, if we compare that to some of the said elite quarterbacks in the NFL.
Elite.
Actual elite.
Elite.
Not Cutler elite. Rodgers, 5 years, 110, 54 guaranteed. Brady, 2 years, 41, 28 guaranteed. Peyton Manning, I know he's retired, but his last contract was 5 years, $96 million. Where on earth does Cutler fall with them?
Numbers-wise, or, well, based on salary?
Just watching.
Yeah,
just watching him.
Name,
what does he bring to the table compared to those three?
I'm going to go with nothing.
That's about accurate.
I'm going to start with nothing.
Brought up some stats. Since 2009, when Cutler came to the Bears for a ungodly price, 2 first-round picks and Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton wasn't great, but we still gave up 2 first-round picks for this scrub. 151 touchdowns, 106 interceptions. Rodgers in that same time period, 228 touchdowns, only 96 interceptions. Brady, 231 and 64 interceptions. Peyton Manning missed 1 year of that time period. He was out an entire year with that neck injury. Threw 206 touchdowns with only 86 interceptions. So tell me how he deserves $126 million.
Okay, so I know how much you love to play devil's advocate. So I'll jump in. I'll jump to that side real quick. I will say that I'm not coming to Jay Cutler's defense in any sense, because he does suck, and I believe that very dearly as well. But I will say that the receiving core that he has had in Chicago, since he's been here, hasn't been up to par, I'll say, with those other three teams. Have they had the best receiving corps in the country or in the NFL? No.
Do you want me to interrupt you, or you can continue?
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
Have
those three quarterbacks had the best receivers in the NFL? Yes and no. Okay, but have the Bears had the best receivers? Absolutely not. The interceptions part, that's where I can't defend him, because if you're not throwing to your players, you're obviously throwing to the other team, and that just sucks. So
okay. So what I have to come back to that.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall.
Okay.
Martellus Bennett. Alshon Jeffrey. Matt Forte. Tell me where those guys line up. Brandon Marshall was in his prime.
He was in his prime.
We got rid of him.
Yeah.
For nothing. A 6th-round pick.
I'll say that because the Bears only had Martellus Bennett, though, or not Martellus Bennett, Brandon Marshall, the defense keyed on him every week.
What about Alshon Jeffrey? He's 6'5".
Alshon Jeffrey has been up and down with injuries.
Yeah, but when he's healthy, when he's
healthy, yeah, Jay Cutler's got no excuse.
What about Matt Forte? He was an Iron Man.
He was, but he can only do so much. Those are just pieces.
What about Martellus Bennett?
I didn't like Martellus Bennett very much.
You didn't like him?
I didn't like him. I didn't think he was very good. I didn't think he was. And I know you can pull up numbers to combat that, but I didn't think he was very good. So
should I read off Mike Wilbon's tweets right now about this?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see. Where can we go with this? If ForcerNet would load, that always helps.
That's always like super clutch.
Okay, so this was during the Monday Night Football game. Mike Wilbon, Chicago native, was going off. Starts with, which veteran quarterback throws more soul-crushing interceptions, Stafford or Cutler? My vote, clearly Cutler.
Yeah.
Then he goes, somebody wake Bears management and tell him Martellus Bennett can play. He played 80 of 80 snaps yesterday and caught 5 balls for 114 yards and a TD. Tell me he's still bad.
I just didn't like him.
He's playing with a backup quarterback.
I just didn't like him.
Who got hurt and then played with a third-string quarterback. 80 plays out of 80 plays, 5 balls for 114 yards and a touchdown. You're telling me that Zach Miller is going to do that for us?
Obviously, Cutler couldn't get him the ball. He's good.
Cutler can't do anything.
Cutler couldn't get him the ball.
Oh, it's unbelievable. He's terrible. Oh, and then on top of it, Bears management, yeah, that's a joke in itself. So I won't even go into that. I don't want to talk about that. Well, Ryan Pace. Actually, you know what? We will talk about that. We will talk about that. Here's a little glimpse of the Bears front office right now. Ryan Pace on why he got rid of Brandon Marshall. He's a good football player, and going forward, we felt that this was best for us, and quite frankly, it was best situation for him too. So that's where we're at. You got a 6th-round pick for a guy who caught over 100 balls the year you traded him. You're telling me the Bears couldn't use that? The Bears couldn't use that? Brandon Marshall went on to tell Stephen A. Smith, look, man, I don't know what else to do. I was trying to defend my quarterback. He knows Jay Cutler was terrible. He's glad he left.
Well, but where did he go with the Jets, though? Like
over 100 balls?
Yeah, but who's the Jets quarterback?
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I would take him over Cutler in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's sad.
Him and his beard. His beard's probably better than Cutler. All right, so we'll go back to the Bears front office. This is where I have a dilemma. The Bears got rid of Lovie Smith. Didn't really have that bad of a season. He wasn't having the greatest tenure. It was a middle of the pack tenure. Wasn't good to win. Wasn't bad enough to get a good pick. So I see change of pace. It's all right. Whatever. So we bring in Mark Trustman.
Canadian football. Finest.
Yeah, we see where that took us.
The finest in the CFL.
We'll skip over that one. That was a disaster. So instead, we bring in a head coach with previous success. I like that. We bring in the youngest NFL GM who has no experience running a team. Yes, he was the director of player personnel for New Orleans, but he did not run that team by any means.
No.
So we bring in a guy who has no experience. Got a problem with that. So we bring in this head coach in John Fox. Love the guy. Defensive oriented, blah, blah, blah. Typical Bears head coach.
Yeah, you're the image that you want.
The problem I have is how they're building this team, or built, whatever you want to call it. It's very similar to what Lovie Smith had. That was the demise of our team. Defensive oriented.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah. Front seven heavy, or so they say.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one player in our secondary. I don't even know who they are.
No, they just rotate them in and out.
I don't know who our
like the
secondary
Bulls backup point guards every year.
Yeah.
They no clue who they are.
Spencer Dinwiddie. Don't worry, we got Spencer
God.
Dinwiddie now.
We'll be talking Bulls later on.
Yeah, but so front seven heavy, of which a bunch of them are injured. Pernell McPhee, our big pickup 2 years ago, is on the PUP list.
Jeez.
So he hasn't practiced since the end of the season last year. Lack of offense focus. You can't win unless you score. The only reason we went to the Super Bowl in 2006 was because our defense got us there. And then the other thing that I will say Jay Cutler has a disadvantage over the other quarterbacks is a constant offensive coordinator changing. That can't happen every year. He's had, I don't even know what it is. I think it's 6 in 9 years.
Say 7, maybe
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Which is
6 for
absurd and unheard of. But all things said, that goes back to the front office. What are you guys doing? What are you bringing to the table? So I don't know. That's just my opinion, my 2 cents. I could keep going. I could take this whole show over the Bears. They have lost me as a fan. I watched the Monday night game because I wanted to talk about it on this show. But
right.
Other than that,
well, when I went over to your room and you had it on, I was shocked. I left my room. I left my room to stop watching the game.
Oh, it was terrible.
I couldn't believe you had it on.
Yeah, I got a projector in my room, so I'm watching the game, and I'm just thinking, how did anyone think this would be a good Monday night football game? The Eagles versus the Bears.
Who at ESPN let that guy decide the schedule?
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Sunday night football, guess who we have? The Chicago Bears. Guess who we're playing? Dallas.
Well, Dallas is on Sunday night or Thursday night or Monday night.
Well, that's
every week.
That's because it's America's team.
Yeah.
But Jerry World.
But the Bears.
Oh God.
The Chicago Bears. We also got a texter.
May they rest in peace.
We also got a texter commenting, quote, "You forgot Robbie Gold." And
whoa. All right, so here we go. We need to start the petition of #BringBackGold. I don't even know who our kicker is, but it's not good when you go in to kick an extra point and you hit the upright on the first kick your career for the Chicago Bears. Replacing a guy who I think it's 83%, one of the highest percentages.
Didn't he go a whole season without missing one almost? Or he only missed a couple?
He might have, but he's one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history, and we replaced him with a guy who hit the upright. That is the summary, the absolute summary of what the Chicago Bears are right now. It's it. There's nothing more to say. That's just what it is.
There's clearly a disconnect between. I think there's always been a disconnect between Bears management and the Bears coaching staff. It's the coach wants to do this, but the front office brings in a certain players. The coach wants to do this. Front office brings in these players, and there's a disconnect. Front seven oriented. We're gonna play a 4-3, and we're gonna stop the run, and we're gonna pressure the quarterback.
We ain't stopping nothing.
No, we're gonna play a 4-3. We're gonna stop the run. We're gonna pressure the quarterback with our front four. That hasn't happened since 05. You look at 06. Thank you. Then you look at your secondary.
No, I don't know. We don't even need to look at them. I don't even know who that is.
There are a bunch of guys who are under 5'10".
Don't even know who that is.
Who
we had Kyle Fuller, who we thought was the next Darrelle Revis, and we're like, oh. I remember he had 2 picks in the San Francisco game. Was that his debut?
I think so.
It was debut. Everyone was like,
where did this guy come from?
Oh, he's going to be the rookie of the year. It turns out he didn't do anything, and he's not doing anything. Is he? Yeah. Did he even play? Because I know he was injured.
I don't think he played.
Oh, so yeah, we see where that's going.
But yeah, so it's just like there's no connection, and obviously lack of solid planning on the part of the front office, management, and the Bears coaching staff. So where are we going for the Bears this week? Like Monday night football, or is it Sunday night? Sunday night against the Cowboys. You're going to be facing Dak Prescott,
who the Bears should have drafted.
You're going to be facing Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the rest of the Cowboys. So what are you really looking for? Can you rely on Cutler to score the ball? Because
if he even plays.
Yeah, can you rely on him to score the ball?
At this point, I hope Brian Hoyer plays. He at least moved the ball.
He did. I think at this point, give him a shot. Like you bring in a backup. He's got no expectations. He's got no pressure, and so he's just going to ball out. Well, I mean, he could ball out potentially, but he's got no expectations, no pressure. What is there for him to lose? What is it for the Bears to lose? You know, Cutler coming in with the huge contract. It's like, what's his name on the Cubs with the huge contract?
Lester?
No, the hitter.
Oh, Hayward?
Yeah, Hayward. Hayward coming in with the huge contract.
We can get to that later.
Hayward coming in with the huge contract. You know, he had so many expectations, and he's fallen short. So I'm not going to say no matter what Cutler could have done, he wouldn't have lived up to his contract or expectations, but he's been awful. So that's what we'll say about the Bears for this week.
Should we move on to another?
We'll move forward
ridiculous
to college.
team.
Yeah,
we're not moving to college. We're moving to another terrible team in Chicago.
Oh no,
the Bulls. Where do we start? Where do you want to start? You want to start with the owner?
I was going to start with.
Or you want to start with the players
trading D Rose?
Oh,
we can start
like
with that. Yeah, we'll start with trading D Rose.
Now, yes, Chicago grown, homegrown, the future star, our MVP. I love it.
Simeon High School went away for a year, Memphis.
But
everyone
tell me
knows it.
what he has done in the past 4+ years.
Since his MVP season.
What has he done?
Nothing.
He sat out more games than he's played.
That's for sure.
He's sat on the bench, or sat out, said, I'm taking myself out by not playing when the team needed them. Saying, no, I'll come back later in the year, or I'll come back next season. What else did he do? Oh, saying I increased my vertical by 5 inches, and then proceeding to only shoot threes. Oh, that's good, Derek. We can definitely see that vertical went up.
That's what we need.
I didn't need to show anyone.
You didn't show anyone anything, though.
No.
So
you showed people that you weren't working on your jump shot. That's what you showed us. All right. Let's move on. Still talking about the Bulls, but let's move on away from Derrick Rose. He's gone now. Gar and Pax. And I quote, we need to get younger, faster, longer, and more athletic. Tell me a single player that we brought in that is doing that for us. Is D Wade younger? No. Is he longer? No. Is he faster? No.
Is he gonna get any younger?
No.
Faster? Or
no.
longer?
If anything, he might die on the floor with his knees. We don't know. Rajon Rondo. I don't know where this came from. We're gonna
I don't mind that one as much.
What is he gonna do?
I don't mind it as much.
Fred Hoiberg's offense is predicated on shooters.
At least they brought in a guy,
who can't shoot.
a true point guard though. D Rose.
Who is he gonna pass
not a
to?
point guard. Well,
Dwayne Wade can't shoot. Jimmy Butler is so inconsistent. Doug McDermott's just gonna get hounded. Mirotic, don't even get me started. The next Dirk Nowitzki. Okay, let's settle down here. He's not the next Dirk. Nowhere even near close.
No.
Who is he gonna pass to? Spencer Dinwiddie?
Is he even on the roster?
Yeah, we released him and then brought him back.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, you know what's the Bulls team without Spencer Dinwiddie?
It's an under 500 team. That's what it is, Mike.
That's fair. That's fair. Should we have just blown up the team?
Oh, 100%, no doubt.
But it's Jimmy's team. But we're gonna bring in 2 alpha male NBA vets who have won championships to say play under Jimmy. Tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah, to back up your star.
Of which it's not even like Jimmy's friends with these guys. It's not.
No,
it's
they
not
just
like,
grabbed them out of nowhere.
It's
really.
not like, oh, you know what? We're going to have Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James, who are all really good friends, join up on a team. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't like it, but they at least knew each other.
That one kind of made sense, yeah.
But, we're going to bring in Rondo, who Jimmy has no rapport with. we're going to bring in D-Wade just because he's from Chicago and we let go of another Chicago guy. We overpaid for him.
Oh, 100%. He looks like a genius for not going back to Miami.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He gypped us out of money.
Yeah, he looks like a genius. He's like, oh, I'm going to come back home. He just followed the money. Like, Miami wasn't going to give him that. Like,
No.
he was like, oh, I really wanted the Heat thing to work, but, Chicago's been on my radar for, since what year did you say, 2010 or something like that?
Yeah,
I saw his
three was for him.
his press conference or whatever. Chicago's been on my radar since 2010. We just haven't been able to make a deal work. No, bro, you just followed the money. Like, come on.
Yeah.
If
That's like Carmelo Anthony saying, New York's really where my heart is. No, it wasn't.
No, it's not. It's
you
like,
got that extra $25 million or whatever it was. That's where your heart was, the money.
If I'm gonna say this, if the Jazz had given Dwayne Wade more than the Bulls,
that's what I'm saying.
He would have gone
there.
to Utah.
He would have been like, you know what? I'll play in the Western Conference. I don't have to go to the playoffs.
Gone to
I'm
Utah.
getting $28 million a year.
He would have become a Mormon. He would have gone to Utah and just lived that lifestyle because he's following the money. But no, I'm gonna come home to the Bulls. That's a load. That's a load of stuff.
Yeah. Did you hear Jerry Reinsdorf what he had to say about Joakim Noah?
No. I don't even know if I want to know either.
In summary, he said he's no longer a frontline player. Pretty sure, what was it, 2 years ago he was
Defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, and I quote.
Did he say this before or after he left?
After.
Okay.
And
so
I quote.
Salt. Yeah, salt there.
And I quote. We felt it was time. We felt Joakim wasn't going to be a frontline guy anymore. I was pretty confident that Powell was going to leave. No kidding.
Yeah, right.
Really, why would he stay on an under 500 team?
Yeah,
so it was,
especially when he's got only a couple years left.
So I'll continue. He says, so it was important for us to get the right center in Robin Lopez. Hold on. Let's go back. Robin Lopez. Longer? All right.
I mean, yeah.
More athletic?
No,
not even close.
Not a chance.
Faster? He might be one of the slowest centers in the league. And younger? Not younger.
Michael Sweetney is slower.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started on that. So enlighten me, Jerry, why you think that getting Robin Lopez is the ideal replacement for Joakim Noah, an defensive player of the year
This is
in the NBA.
This is just Jerry Reinsdorf being an owner and saying,
It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money. Him being an owner and saying, I'm going to back up whatever player we get. I'm going to support whatever guy we get and say, oh, he was the great pickup for us. They could have gotten a bin of basketballs
I wanna
and
even,
said, these balls are the best balls that we've ever gotten.
I want to know. I want to
gym.
know if he even knows who Robin Lopez is.
Well, one of them confused him. Who confused him? Was it?
I think it was Gar.
Yeah, was it Gar?
I think it was Gar. It was like, it was a great pickup for us to get Brooke Lopez.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Brooke Lopez is actually good.
Yeah,
we got Robin.
No,
his
we
twin
got
brother.
we got the other one.
Yeah, we got the other one. They're like,
Jeez.
oh,
That's like that. That's like that thing in the league when he confused the two guys.
oh God. Oh, are you Jordan Cameron or are you Cameron Jordan?
Oh, which guy did I pick up on my fantasy team? Oh man, like know your players. Like he'll just say, yeah, we got the best center we could in this trade. But no, come on, like the NBA, as you know, is moving away from big men, and they're becoming increasingly less skilled. They're just there because you need a guy over 6'8", basically.
Side note: did you see Dwight Howard's now shooting jump shots? Okay, we'll move away from that, but that's just a little side note.
Because he can shoot a ball. Because he can shoot a ball standing still with no one guarding him.
Yeah, I know.
Let's let him take jump shots
off the dribble.
Oh,
off the dribble. It's great. You should look up the video. Look up the video. Dwight Howard shoots jump shots. I'll give him credit. They go in, but I don't know why he's deciding to do that.
Oh God. So yeah, that's just Jerry Reinsdorf. Not only needs to leave the White Sox, he needs to leave the Bulls, and they need to be sold and bought by somebody other than Jerry Reinsdorf. If that makes any sense.
You mean by like guarantee rate? Should we transition to the White Sox?
We'll just jump over the White Sox.
We'll jump over there.
Yeah, we'll spend a couple minutes on the White Sox, then we'll go to a break.
3 words, just 3. Blow it up. That's all you need to say. Blow it up.
Nuclear bomb.
Yeah, that'd be great. Start with Jerry, but that's not going to happen. Move to Kenny. He needs to go. I've never seen an organization, besides Jerry Reinsdorf's organization, promote someone who has put a team on the field or court and underperformed. Never seen it until Kenny Williams going from general manager. You know what? You're going to be the vice president of operations. That's what's going to happen. You did such a bad job. We're going to promote you.
And there's really nothing to say. I mean, obviously what they wanted to do was not completely. I think what they wanted to do was not put Kenny Williams completely out to pasture and just move Rick Hahn up to technically the main general manager position, the general manager position.
Kenny's still making the decisions.
He's still making the decisions. So it was really just semantics. In White Sox front office, just nominal changes, but like,
you know who else needs to go in the White Sox organization?
Oh, don't say his name.
Should I say it?
Don't say his name.
Who do you think I'm talking about?
Hawk Harrelson.
Harrelson.
My man Hawk.
Let's relive some clips. You know what? You should probably bring that up, but I don't know if you could find it. A couple weeks ago, Hawk Harrelson decided to go on a rant and compare Todd Frazier. I don't even know what Todd Frazier is hitting. Todd Frazier.
Somewhere in the mid to low 200s for sure.
Todd Frazier as one of the best third basemen. Not really. He decided to compare him to Chris Bryant, the NL MVP. I don't know who else you're going to vote for.
I mean, maybe Rizzo at the other end of the diamond. I don't know.
Daniel Murphy could give him a run for it.
Possibly.
But Bryant's run away with it, if you ask me. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a Cubs fan, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Hold up. Here we go. 221 is his batting average. 221. So should we go to his quote as of
keep
this
going
past
to the
week?
quote. Just keep going.
Okay.
Just put the Titanic in the ocean.
Okay, so here we go. Hawk Harrelson, and I quote, one of the most clutch hitters in the last 50 years in baseball. I was speechless when I heard that. Literally speechless. What does one say to that?
I mean, obviously we all know Hawk is getting up there in age.
So he needs to be put in a home.
Well, I mean,
needs to be put in a home.
I think the most disappointing part about the Sox season for me, besides obviously the record, but that's not really surprising in the past couple of years. The most disappointing thing for me has been Hawk being slowly phased out of not doing home games.
No, he just needs to go.
There's
no phasing out.
They phased him out.
Cut your losses and go.
They phased him out this season. He's not doing home games. He's only doing road games. But I think this is their way of saying goodbye to Hawk. Hawk has been.
I don't care.
He's been the staple for the Sox for the past however many years. But
we see where that's got them.
Well, okay, his
mediocrity.
His
mediocrity.
His being there.
And I know all the White Sox fans are going to say, "Oh, well, we won a championship in 2005. The Cubs haven't won since 1908."
Well, we did, but
I don't care.
We did, but his being there,
losing it.
Losing it. He might be, but him being there doesn't affect the product on the field. It affects the broadcast product.
Yeah, and it affects
but it doesn't affect
the legitimacy of that.
It doesn't affect if the team plays well or not.
No. Okay, here we go. Well, it might correlate with how bad they're playing right now. Going back to the Todd Frazier, one of the most clutch hitters. Here we go. Here's his stats. 2 outs with runners in scoring position. 386 plate appearances. 312 official at-bats. He is hitting 186 in his career. This is the most clutch hitter in the last 50 years, everyone. Late and close, 251 batting average. Tie game, 259. It's not terrible.
It's not awful.
But for most clutch, not great. Here's Todd Frazier, 2016 stats. With runners on base, first, second, third, wherever, he's hitting 208. With runners in scoring position, 134 at-bats, 172.
See, that one hurts.
No. It gets better. What are clutch players supposed to do? Come up in the clutch, no pun intended, with 2 outs or with
Yeah.
runners in scoring position, do any of that. You put both those together with runners in scoring position with 2 outs, 64 at bats this year. He is batting 125. 125.
That just hurts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most clutch, and I mean the most clutch hitter in the last 50 years. Most clutch.
I mean,
Hawk Harrelson, everyone. Hawk Harrelson. Look it up. I'm not lying.
I'll say about this. Those numbers, the one true fact that is undoubtedly true in baseball and in any sport is numbers don't lie. We'll say
He's
that
terrible this year.
So we'll say
And
numbers
Hawk is losing.
Numbers don't lie. So has he been clutch?
No.
No. Hawk, and I'm gonna defend him to an extent.
All right,
here,
White
okay?
Sox.
I'll say he's it's time for them to bring somebody in full time and let Hawk go. But it's Hawk's job to make broadcasts entertaining.
Make broadcast entertaining. You want to know what's
for
entertaining?
A bad team?
You want to know what's entertaining? This is a good point. David Kaplan. I was listening to him probably a month ago or something like that. Brings up a great point. What should the White Sox do to make it entertaining? They may not win, but it'll at least be entertaining.
Yeah.
Bring back Ozzie Guillen.
Oh,
It'll
God.
put people in the stands. You'll drive up revenue. You know Jerry loves his money. Doesn't care if he wins or not.
No, he doesn't.
He loves his money.
He's made that very clear.
Bring Ozzie back. I hated the man. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
That was the best.
He would go on rants. The best part was when him and Lou Piniella were managing against each other. It was like, what's funnier to watch?
Yeah.
Ozzie Guillen rant at an ump or Lou Piniella rant at an ump? Lou Piniella would kick his hat. That was funny.
So I'll say about that. I said this maybe in podcast 1. Why don't they just bring in Tim Tebow then? Like, obviously the Mets signed him to a minor league deal, but bring in Tim Tebow. I mean, what can you really lose at this point? If you want revenue, bring back Ozzie Guillen, sign Tim Tebow.
You know, I worked for a minor. This is the last thing I'll say. I worked for a minor league
we'll go to break
baseball
in a
team
minute,
over the summer 2 years ago.
Mhm.
They brought more fans into the stadium than the White Sox do. That is where the White Sox stand at this point.
Not a good state for White Sox baseball at this current point. It's probably time for Hawk Harrelson to go. Definitely way past due for them to blow up the team. So we're gonna cut to a short break. We'll be right back in probably about a minute. So stay tuned. You're listening to Dorm Room Sports Podcast live on WMXM 88.9 FM.
Stop drinking until he drinks too much. A friend suggested Al-Anon family groups. She said there are no dues or fees. At first, I was afraid to go to Al-Anon. I felt like a fool to care about somebody who can't stop drinking. But Al-Anon members know exactly how I feel. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear sighting, as in Smokey Bear.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste. He told me to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
I know that now.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Baseball season's underway. Well, you better get ready for a brand new day. Hey,
Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. Take it away, Tommy.
All right, you're listening to the Dorm Room Sports Podcast live on WMXM 88.9 FM. We're broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. You can listen online at WMXM.org and call us at 847-735-6038 to make a request or comment. This is episode 4, XXX. It appears that no matter what co-host I bring in, I get a Cubs fan and I get someone singing along to "Go Cubs Go" every week.
Cubs go. It's catchy.
I hate that song. I'm
Why?
sorry. I hate it. It just drives me crazy. I'll say that bringing a co-host that loves the Cubs and sings "Go Cubs Go" every week makes me want baseball season to end as soon as possible.
Why?
Because
your team's terrible?
Well, yeah. It's no fun talking
That's
about how
not
much
my fault.
It's no fun how much talking about how much the Sox suck and then listening to "Go Cubs Go" for 10 minutes. It's no fun. But Roofer obviously also has some strong opinions about the Cubs. They're positive ones, though.
They're great.
They're great.
They're great.
They're huge. I mean,
Hey,
they're
you
just
know what?
huge.
Side note, we need some callers.
We need some callers.
We need some callers.
We need call us in 847-735-6038. You want to get on the air? We'll talk about whatever you want. Right now we're talking Cubs baseball.
Where to start?
Where to start? I mean,
Best team in baseball?
How many weeks left in the season?
Who cares? We're in the playoffs.
That's true.
I think we got 2 weeks until
I
playoffs.
was gonna
That's
say,
all that
how
matters.
many weeks of meaningless baseball left for the Cubs?
I'm gonna be honest. I've only watched a couple games. They haven't looked great lately, but I think
how can you like get up to play games that you know don't mean anything?
You know,
that's
I
the
would
question.
agree, but I also think it has to do with the fact that Joe Madden's kind of tinkering with lineups right now.
Which if there's any other time to do it, it's right now.
Oh, it's great.
Obviously.
We get to rest players. Now, don't get me started on 2008 when we decided to sit our starters out for 2 weeks and not play them. That was a disaster. But what he's doing, I like it. Give him a day off here, give him 2 days off, whatever they need. Come back in. We'll be good to go. I know we'll be good.
Don't they? Isn't he like the puppet master? Isn't that what they kind of call him?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
it's great. So let's start. Where you want to start, Tommy?
We'll start with Jake Arrieta. That one's kind of a negative spot. That's the one sore spot.
That's the one sore spot right now.
Yeah, but then we'll just trend positively. We'll just go upward from there.
You know, I don't like his control right now.
Well, so the positive about it is, has it been consistent throughout the season? No. Does he have the ability to improve on it? Yes, because obviously we saw last year that it was very good.
Yeah, but he was doing that all second half. I don't think he can turn it on. I honestly don't.
You just don't know, though. You don't know until he gets out there on the mound. So he has the ability to. We've seen it.
I would agree.
But obviously you don't like him going into a postseason stretch where he's not having his best control.
73 walks this year. 73 compared to his 48 last year.
I was just going to say how many were last year.
That's not good.
I mean, okay, so then a lot of walks means he's throwing a lot of pitches.
I think he's fatigued, though.
Yeah.
Because last year, granted, last year is an anomaly.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. It's great watching it. Watched a couple games live, but it's 229 innings last year. He's at 185 right now.
That's a lot.
And
what
the highest previous to that was 156 in 2014. So I think he's feeling some fatigue. He won't admit it, which he shouldn't.
No.
He admitted it at the end of the year.
You keep problems in-house, obviously.
At the end of the year, he admitted it, and I have no doubt that he was. But, you know, for a guy who said he's not going to take a discount to stay with the team that gave him a second chance, you're not really backing up your play.
Yeah. So throwing a lot more innings, throwing a lot more pitches with his walks. So I think that's kind of really a chicken and egg thing. Are they throwing him longer? Because I know the Cubs bullpen has been kind of an issue throughout the season until they picked up Chapman and things like that. So they might have been throwing him some extended innings, which you throw more pitches, the arm gets fatigued, you start to lose your pinpoint accuracy a little bit. You start walking more guys, and then it kind of snowballs from there. So I think if one of the key issues is that bullpen from kind of the beginning of the season, where that was kind of a sore spot for them. And so then you extend your starters a little bit more, and then it kind of starts to add up. But I think if he goes into the postseason a little more rested, he won't be as not in control. You know what I mean?
would
So
agree.
I think if you can kind of negate it a little bit, but you just don't know. That's the thing. You just don't know until he's out there on the mound.
So going into the postseason, this is our next talking point.
Right.
Who do you start game one? Do you throw Arrieta out there? Because Lester's look dominant.
I was gonna say my first thought was Lester, but then you're starting game one at home.
Mm-hmm.
So why not throw Arrieta? See what you're gonna get, because then, you lose game one, big deal. You got game two at home. So you lose game one. Arrieta doesn't have a great outing. You're right back there for game two, though, and then you throw Lester, and then
so here's my devil's advocate point. And I want Lester. Full
To start
disclosure,
game one?
I
Okay.
want Lester game one. I want Hendricks game two.
Okay.
Full disclosure, here's why. Say it goes 5 games. You got to throw Arrieta back out there, and he had a bad first start.
Yeah, he's got to
That's
throw game
A,
five.
in his head. B, you're having him go game 5. Lester can't pitch. Hendricks can't pitch. If you had Lackey pitching in game 4, he can't pitch.
So then, would you want to start Arrieta on the road, game
Correct.
3?
Correct.
I think
I'd rather have him on the road.
It's not scientific fact, but I think also that road starts are generally a little bit easier for pitchers. Tend to have a little bit easier time because you're away from everything. You're away from all the pressures, the hometown fans. I think you can try to focus in a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone handles that a little differently. Some guys might want that home start, that comfort, same daily routine and everything. But then some guys might just want to focus in and get away from it all and just focus on pitching. So
here's my other thing to go with it.
Yeah.
I think he's given up 15 home runs this year. He gave up 10 last year. Wrigley's not the nicest park, especially if that wind's blowing out.
No, yeah.
Hendricks is ground ball pitcher. Why not keep him at Wrigley? Plus, he's been unbelievable the second half. He's been not even near close what Arrieta was control-wise last year and just dominating, but he's been unbelievable. I honestly, yes, again, I'm biased, but I think he has a great chance at Cy Young. So, again, I think you start Arrieta on the road. If we go 5, God forbid, no Cubs fan.
Don't even want to, utter those words because it could be such a jinx. But
no Cubs fan needs to be put through that in the first round.
But you just don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, baseball is baseball, just like any other sport. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So,
and again, we have a luxury. We're debating who should start, Hendricks, Lester, or Arrieta.
Yeah.
Most teams are like, all right,
have
this
to
is our
start
one.
this guy. Yeah.
This is our one, and then everyone else drops off. We have Lester, who is unbelievable right now. Hendricks is dominant, and Arrieta, when he's on top of his game, is darn near unhittable.
One of the best things in life, Michael, options. Options is one of the best things in life because it means decisions. And I know decisions. And I know decisions can be difficult, but that's what makes life interesting because you roll the dice one way, they don't go your way. You roll them the other way, they go your way. And that makes life interesting, Mike. If we didn't have decisions, where would we be? We'd be robots.
Speaking of that, you know who makes the decisions for the Cubs? Theo.
I was going to say Theo Epstein.
What do we do about his contract? Because he still hasn't signed anything. By the way, Bryant just homered and Fowler scored. Cubs lead 9-2 in the bottom of the 7th.
Who are they playing?
The Reds. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Plus, we already clinched, so who cares? But just for all you sports fans.
Theo Epstein. We talked about it a little bit last night, right? That's when we talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about his contract. It's been thrown around percentages of, is it revenue? Is that what?
No, just like a stake in the Cubs. But
Yeah,
that was capped. I heard, again,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of David Kaplan. Big fan. Great guy. But he threw out the idea of, what if you give him a stake in the Cubs?
Okay.
Never been done before, to my knowledge, but what if you do it? He said, what if you give him 5% stake in the Cubs? Now, that made me think, and again, I did a couple searches on it, and people are saying the Cubs could be worth north of $2 billion, which is easy to, or it's feasible, I guess you could say, because the Clippers got sold for $2 billion to see Ballmer,
and what if
they
the
haven't
Clippers
done
won?
anything.
Yeah.
Granted, they're in Los Angeles, but
It's Chicago,
Cubs.
yeah.
We're the
Well,
Cubs.
and it's the Cubs. So, you look at a percentage ownership of the team, and you think about how you work that into, and Roofer's doing some quick math. You figure out how you want to work that into a contract. I kind of brought up the idea of a vesting schedule with, so say you give them a percentage of the team, and right now it's worth north of $2 billion.
Let's just say it's worth $2 billion, just for numbers wise.
just
you give them
numbers-wise.
5%. That's $100 million contract per se. Granted, that's not going to be his whole contract, but you throw that in there. Now, granted, let's just full disclosure: he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not. Why would he?
He's not going to build a team for 5 years that's ahead of track or it's ahead of schedule. He's not going to leave.
To leave, no.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
He wants to see them win. If he didn't, then he wouldn't have, come here. So
and there would be no contract talks.
Yeah. So how do you work it into his? Do you consider a vesting schedule with all that and everything that's attached to that? After this many years, you get this much money.
If we win, you get even more. I don't know what you do.
Bonuses and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, the man's worth. What did he sign? A 5-year, $25 million.
I think so.
So he's in his 5th year right now. $5 million a year. He's worth eons more than that.
Yeah.
I'd say at least 15, maybe even 20 million a year, because general managers literally make all the decisions. Granted, he's the vice president, but he works with Jed.
He's sitting there, and they're making decisions
he works with
together.
Jed. They make it together, unlike the White Sox and their dysfunctionality.
Whatever goes on in those offices, only God himself knows. But
well, we know too. Kenny makes the decisions.
Well, and then
Rick's just a puppet.
Well, you just see the product in the field, and you're like, obviously, they're not good decisions. So,
hey, by the way, how about that all Chicago World Series that everyone was predicting?
I was not one of the people that I was not one of the people that was like, hey, this is gonna happen. The Sox are 20-5. They're gonna win the rest of the games of the season. No. It's not realistic at all. Like, come on, the season's 162 games. This is everything was clicking right. One thing happens and your whole team falls apart. Okay,
it did.
Then which it did, like you said. Okay, then you don't really have a good team. Then
you had Todd Frazier.
God,
he's better than Chris Bryant.
I'm never gonna hear the rest of this one until the baseball season ends.
You know what? He is the most clutch hitter in the last 50 years. You have that on your team. I'm so proud of you and the White Sox. Let me just tell you. You guys should be rewarded. You know what? We just shouldn't even play the playoffs. You should just be awarded the World Series championship.
If only it were that easy.
Unbelievable.
That's okay. Come on, you're gonna sit there and say that you don't want to be awarded the championship as a Cubs fan?
Oh, 100%.
Just because of the season
100%.
you guys. Just because of the season you guys just had, and you're just like,
Chicago deserves it. The White Sox don't. The Cubs do.
I just can't get on board with that. But
why don't the Cubs deserve it?
I didn't say the Cubs deserve it. I didn't.
The Cubs deserve it.
But
it's about time.
I wouldn't say it's about time.
No, it's about time.
When you get a team that beats everyone else for the World Series, then I'll say it's about time.
Okay.
But until that point, I don't think you should say it's, quote, about time.
No, it's happening.
Because you haven't earned it, really. So
whatever.
All right. So what's your first 2 starters, first 2 playoff games at home? Who are you going with? Ultimate final decision right now.
Lester 1, Hendricks 2.
Okay, there it is. Roofer called it. Lester 1, Hendricks 2.
Arrieta's starting on the road, and we'll go from there.
Hopefully you don't need to go any further than that.
Nope. Depending on who we're playing, we might not have to.
Your prediction on who they're going to play. Last week, Jim predicted the Nationals. Who do you think they're going to play? Who do I
want to play, or who are we going to play?
We'll do one of each.
Who I want to play?
Who do you want them to play?
The Mets.
Okay. That's an interesting choice. Especially, I'm just saying.
Their pitchers are all done.
Yeah, they are.
I would love to face 43-year-old Bartolo Colon tossing meat subs in the middle of the plate to
it'd be
Chris
funny.
Bryant.
It'd be funny.
I would love it.
It'd be funny if he just just started throwing lights out, and that
He was pitching pretty good today.
He was.
I don't know what he did, but I saw a couple highlights. He struck out Dansby Swanson. He's a pretty good young player for the Braves.
Dansby's a nice little player.
Yeah. So I don't know. Granted, he's a rookie, but Bartolo's older than his dad, probably.
So who do you think they're going to play? You want them to play the Mets. Realistically, right now, with 2 weeks left in the season, who do you think they're going to play?
Now you're putting me on the spot.
I know. I that's what my job is. My job is to put you and Jim on the spot all the time.
Yeah, but Jim loves that stuff.
Jim
absolutely loves that
Jim
stuff.
could.
Where's the wild card standings?
Jim doesn't even
now
look.
We're talking because we know we're playing the wild card team.
Yeah.
Right now it's San Francisco and St. Louis, and technically the Mets. That would be nice if there was a 3-way tie.
God,
get a couple extra days.
How do you even do that?
I don't even know. We'd have to ask Jim.
Because he would know somehow.
I'm scared of the Giants. Granted, their offense has been bad, but I'm scared of the Giants because their pitching staff.
Yeah.
No one wants to face Madison Bumgarner.
No.
Especially, I hate to say it, but it's an even year. An even year. The Giants, it's an even year.
Yeah.
Cardinals, I think we could handle them, but I think we'll end up playing. Where are the Giants out right now? Where are they out?
And see,
they're 5 games out, so they're not making the divisional.
The funny thing with Jim is he won't even.
Yeah, I know.
He literally sits there.
He just knows. I think they're 5 games out.
He literally sits there with nothing in front of him.
By the way, that's because he looks up stats, all marketing or all entrepreneurship class. So who I think we're gonna play? I think it's gonna be the Cardinals.
Okay.
I think they just have the experience. They've been there. They're probably going to throw Wainwright out the first game. Now, if I had to guess, they'll play the Giants, but that'd be a heck of a game, the Giants with Bumgarner, and then you throw in Adam Wainwright for the Cardinals. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, like I said, I hope we play the Mets.
I mean, that's interesting just because of what happened last season, but they're not the same team. Neither
not
team
even close.
Neither team is
Cubs
the
are
same
better.
team. Yeah. So, interesting going with the Mets, but you think they'll play the Cardinals?
I
okay,
do.
so
I honestly do.
Lester and Hendricks games 1 and 2 against the Cardinals at Wrigley, and I know you somehow always get tickets, and he's smiling with that grin.
See, I got connections through some season ticket holders where I might be able to get them for face value. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a little live reporting if I get some tickets.
That'll be really good. So we got about 8 minutes left in the show. If you want to call in 847-735-6038, we're just going to talk just a tiny bit of college football in our last 8 minutes, just because that's where my heart lies, really.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Alabama finally broke the streak this past weekend and beat Ole Miss on the road in Oxford.
At Ole Miss.
Great
win, especially with a freshman quarterback.
Oh my God. I was praying they wouldn't bring in Blake Barnett.
Oh God, no.
I was
praying
they wouldn't bring him in. I was like, please, Saban, don't do it. And I went home this past weekend from school, and I was not the first probably say quarter and a half. I was really in a bad mood.
Oh, it was
They
bad.
were playing
I was
awful.
watching it, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It was physically painful to watch. And finally, they decided to start playing football and just
they looked dominant.
Took it home.
They looked dominant.
They just went for it, and defense looked great. Jalen Hurts, he's got that.
He's got a cannon.
He's got an arm.
Like Jay Cutler.
Oh, God. Regression.
Oh, God. That's all right. He's better than Jay.
So it was awesome to see Alabama win on the road in Oxford. This week, they're playing Kent State. So
mark that one up as a win.
Yeah, if you want to possibly try to finance like a yacht or something, you'll put like $100 down on Kent State.
Yeah,
because I don't know what the betting line is.
I don't know.
I don't know what the betting line possibly could be.
It's probably like 99.9% chance Alabama wins.
So put $100 if you have $100 lying around. Put it down on Kent State this weekend to beat Alabama, because who knows? Other big games this weekend. Let's take a look. Ohio State is playing
Who's Louisville playing? That's my question.
Yeah, you want to talk about Louisville.
Louisville's made a statement, absolute statement, kicking the butts of Florida State, absolutely demolishing them. What's his name? Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, God.
I got a text from one of my friends this weekend, and he was like, well, it doesn't look like Florida State's going to the college football playoff. And I looked up the score, and I was like, holy cow.
I turned on the game, and I was like, is like the Wi-Fi screwing with me or like my display? What's going on here? Yeah, it was an absolute butt kicking.
He's Lamar Jackson, is he a true freshman? He might be a redshirt sophomore.
Let me look.
But Lamar Jackson has got a nice arm,
can run,
extremely athletic, very fast. So they absolutely dismantled Florida State this past weekend. They play Marshall. They play Marshall in West Virginia, so at Marshall. The game's gonna be
on CBS.
That's
at 8 p.m. Eastern.
That's interesting.
Why? That's like the Bears playing on Sunday Night Football. We'll just get away from that. We'll get away from that. I don't even want to talk about that. Better question for you, Tommy, real quick. Should North Dakota State be ranked
in FBS?
Yeah.
Well,
they went on the road to a ranked team and beat them.
Who remind me? Who
Iowa.
They play. Yeah, they did beat Iowa.
them.
I actually watched that.
Should they be ranked?
You know, North Dakota State, just because their name reminds me of Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
Just because the name.
Yeah.
So, should they be moved up to FBS? I mean,
they won't. But it's like Houston. They're not in a Big Five.
No, they're not.
Or Power Five, whatever you want to call it. They're still ranked.
Yeah.
North Dakota State, I know their schedule's even worse, but they went on the road and beat Iowa. And they beat other teams, too.
Iowa was a very good team last year.
Yeah.
They were, I think, the Outback Bowl.
Yep.
They were at the Outback Bowl. Should they – and I know North Dakota State is always in the FCS National Championship
I think they've won like 4 championships in a row.
Every year. So, you know, why not? I mean, is it what is the differentiation between FBS and FCS?
I don't know. I don't really care.
I think
let's be honest. Roll Tide.
I think if I'm not correct, we'll look it up and talk about it next week. But I think it's based on school size.
Probably.
I think that plays a factor in it. But if you go on the road, this is like
to a Big Ten school at that.
This is like Illinois paying. Who did they play this week? It was Illinois paying Western Michigan $1.2 million to lose by 21 points. And
by the way, you know who's the coach? Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith.
Bear down, boys. Bear down.
So, you know, these gimme games, these cupcake games, you can never be sure. Well, I mean,
unless you're Alabama. Watch us lose this week.
Yeah, I was going to say $100 put it on Kent State to win because you will make bank.
Yeah.
Other games, Northwestern is playing the number.
Who cares?
Northwestern is playing the number 20 Nebraska Cornhuskers.
You lost 9-6.
Did they beat Duke last week?
Who cares? Terrible game.
I think they lost to Duke.
Probably.
Notre Dame is playing the fierce football school in the Duke Blue Devils this weekend. Yeah, Notre Dame should be ranked.
So, question. Should there just be no rankings?
I wish we had brought this up sooner because we only have 3 minutes left.
It's all right. We can talk
about it.
We know the people behind us. They won't mind.
Should there be rankings in college football?
Or do you just wait until the 8th week or whatever for the playoff rankings to come out? Because you clearly know who the best teams are, but you're giving all these people hope. Like, oh, my team's
is number 4.
Is number 16 in the nation. We're moving up. And then you lose to Appalachian State.
Yeah. I think this season in particular has shown that rankings they've moved around so much that
Florida State
that you have to bring up that question. I can see an argument from both sides saying you should look at you should just wait till the end of the season because then evaluate the whole team's resume, strength of schedule, everything, conference, look at all that.
Again, everything's going to be the same. Yeah. You just don't have a ranking to your name.
Right. Rather than upgrading it or updating it weekly, which I think, I like the rankings personally, but I could see a case for getting rid of it because, number 10 knocked off number 1 this week. Should they really have been number 1, though?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're over-validating teams that are ranked higher than they should be, and then they go and lose the next week. So, you know, I'll stick with them, even though I also wish they had kept the BCS system. I'm still on that train. But, you know, I'll stay, yes, they should keep the rankings, but they really are just not pointless, but they're just it adds
they're irrelevant. They're irrelevant.
It adds for drama.
They honestly are.
Yeah.
They're irrelevant.
It adds for drama that ESPN and all these Fox Sports can pump up this weekend in college football. Number 1 lost to an unranked team. So, you know, it just adds to drama, and it's just it's pointless, but, you know,
it gives people to look towards something, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be the top 5 team.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't really mean
mean anything.
But
so do you personally like the college football playoff system as opposed to the BCS? Independent of itself, regardless of how you felt about the BCS system, do you like the college football playoff system?
Personally, no.
Okay.
But I can see why it's effective. Look at Ohio State 2 years ago.
Right.
They were the 4th team in, and they won it.
Yeah.
BCS system, they're not playing in the national championship.
They would have played in the Orange Bowl or Sugar Bowl or whatever, wherever it would have been that year.
Yeah.
Or the Rose Bowl.
It's like yes, no, maybe. It's all a preference. Now, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, as a college football fan, you like whatever.
Roll Tide.
you like watching good college football. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of our Dorm Room Sports Podcast. We're going to start closing this one out.
Tell me, what music are you playing?
There we go. All right, we're going to close out this week's episode of the podcast. Little technical difficulties. You've been listening to the Dorm Room Sports Podcast live on WMXM 88.9 FM. I want to thank Mike Rufer for joining me this week. Shout out Jim Schick.
Way to keep your priorities in line.
Great having Rufer on the show this week. You're welcome back anytime, Mike. And I know you love calling in too. You can come back anytime. We love having you. You've been listening to the Dorm Room Sports Podcast live on WMXM 88.9 FM, broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. Listen online at WMXM.org and call us at 847-735-6038. Follow us on Twitter at sports_dorm room, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are listening to this on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.